Good morning, Own Rev family, and thank you so much for joining us for the Monday morning devotion. It's brought to you by Own Your Health Revolution. I'm Dr. Hollen Meyer, along with my co-host Gloria Strait, and she'll be closing us out in prayer. We do this every Monday morning at 7:13 Central Standard Time, and it's about a 10 to 20-minute devotion to start your week off with Jesus. And remember, how you start your day is how you rule your day. So today we're going to be talking about courage under fire. And since I did my last Facebook Live, just kind of the fire that I've been going through, I've had many people reach out to me with a specific Bible verse, Romans 8:28, that gives us the assurance that God works all things together for good for those that love Him. And it also gives us courage in the face of trials and hard times. And I've had many men and women comment on how brave and courageous that I was to share my story, especially so soon. But all I can say is God. It's not my strength, but God's strength that dwells in me. And not everyone understands how I can be positive in such a tough time. But again, all I can say is, but God. And His Spirit is truly alive within me. And I found my strength in Him by seeking Him every moment I'm sad, every moment I'm angry, every moment I'm happy, or even when I feel guilty. And a story that I want to share with you guys about finding strength and courage and bravery at a time that can seem so scary or final or absolute, like it's the end. Um, and this story was inspired by a message sent to me by Dr. John Madden out of Cedar Park, Texas, when he reached out to me. And we find it in Daniel 3. And basically, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into the fire for not praying and bowing and worshiping the king's idol. So the king had threatened these men. I think I just like to say their name, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I remember this story told to me when I was a child. But the king at the time threatened these guys that if they didn't worship the image of gold the king had set up, that they would be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. And he even taunted them by saying, "Then what will God? Then what will your God be able to rescue? Then how will your God be able to rescue you from my hand?" And as we start in verse 16 through 18, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered King Nebuchadnezzar, "Your threat means nothing to us. If you throw us in the fire, the God we serve can rescue us from your roaring furnace and anything else you might cook up, O king. But even if he doesn't, it wouldn't make a bit of difference. We would still not serve your gods or worship the gold that you set up." Nebuchadnezzar, his face purple with anger, cut off Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and he ordered the furnace fired up 7 times hotter than usual. He ordered some strong men from the army to tie them up, hands and feet, and throw them into the roaring furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, bound hand and foot, fully dressed from head to toe, were pitched into the roaring fire. Because the king was in such a hurry and the furnace was so hot, flames from the furnace actually killed the men who carried them to it, while the fire raged around Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And during this, right after he threw him into the furnace and was looking down into it, the king had questioned. He said, "We only sent 3 people in there, right?" Because he saw a 4th person in there. And King Nebuchadnezzar said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel and rescued his servants who trusted him. They ignored the king's orders and laid their bodies on the line rather than serve or worship any god but their own." And as we reflect on the story, God never left these 3 guys. He was with them like He's with us. And the world can threaten us with all kinds of things. Think of your own life. What that might look like for you, what the fiery furnace might look like for you. It might be a diagnosis, a horrific car accident, something that happened to your children or your parents, loss of a job or your business going south, getting into financial trouble or trouble with the law, relationship issues. It can look like so many different things for us. And at any point in our life, I just want to remind you, we can make the decision to ask God into our lives, and we can never do anything quote unquote bad enough that would make God turn his back on you. Even if circumstances might even feel as though you are alone and things are so bad that it may seem that surely there is not a God. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, the God we serve can rescue us from roaring fires, or from the roaring furnace. And even if he doesn't, it wouldn't make a bit of difference. We wouldn't serve your gods. They were thrown into the fire, like many of us feel right now. And as I experience, as I had experienced my ectopic pregnancy, um, a little bit over a week ago, the loss of an unborn child, and almost the loss of my own life. Believe me, my husband, my family, and I definitely felt the fiery furnace. And as I heal and I came out alive, thank God, and his timing, we still had to deal with the terrible loss, the scars that remind me daily of the unborn child, and many days we still feel like we're in the fiery furnace, whether it's physically or emotionally. And I still deal with mixed emotions of feeling grateful to be alive, as well as guilty that I'm so grateful when another soul is dead. And the mixed emotion of being thankful that I'm so healthy that I can handle the situation and heal more quickly, mixed with the feeling of shame that despite my health and my body still didn't do what a woman's body was designed to do. But despite these emotions, and despite going through the fiery furnace, just like in the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when the king looked into the furnace, he questioned that he only threw 3 men into the fire because he saw a fourth. These men were all completely unharmed and walking around freely. And the Bible says that the king um, said that the fourth person looked like the son of the gods. So we know that even in tough times, God is still with us. Notice I like that these three guys, they didn't try to barter with God. For example, God, if you do this and save me, I'll promise I'll do this forever. I find that I oftentimes have done that, and they didn't give God an ultimatum. They simply trusted God with all their heart. And I love the part also where they said that even if God didn't save them, it wouldn't make a difference to their decision. They had such a conviction and a heart to follow God and to do what was right. You see, my personal story is a little different in the details, as I'm sure yours is too. They walked completely unharmed, while we might have incisions and scars, and maybe it's emotional scars and turmoil, but I want you to know that even then, I trust that God had his hand in this situation just like he's got his hand in yours. And I challenge you also to try to avoid worshiping your challenges and even your scars by not focusing on those kind of things. Instead, put your focus on God. Our mindset and our faith have a lot to do with if we crumble or if we rise in this situation. These scars that we carry with us, whether they're on your body, in your heart, or etched in your mind, let us not forget the beauty that they represent. That might be a person or a soul to mourn or a new friend you may have met along the way. But let us reflect on the victory that it represents, the victory that belongs to God, that held you up when you couldn't bear to face another day, that sent that special person to touch your life in a way that gave you hope, that gave you an opportunity to touch lives in ways that would never have been possible without this experience, that gave you a platform to share how great our God truly is. Give the devil something to think twice about before he messes with you again, knowing that he will only make you stronger in Christ, allowing God's love to pour into you and shine through you. So I do want to wrap it up with two final verses, Romans 8:28, because this was shared with me almost, and uh, anytime someone shared a Bible verse with me, this was one of them. And it says, Romans 8:28, and we know that that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And also 2 Timothy 1:7, For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So when you feel like you're being thrown into the fiery furnace in life, look up to God and lean into Him and trust His timing and His goodness, and let His light shine through you and through your circumstances. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this really touched you. Glo, if you want to close us out in prayer.
Yes, ma'am. That was an awesome word, and just right timing of just remembering that, we have a fourth man in the fire with us, and that fourth man is Jesus. It's just unexplainable in tough times and tough situations that we face. How even though you do feel alone, you're never alone because that fourth man is right with you. And Lord God, I just say thank you. Thank you for just sending your son here down to earth to be that fourth man for us. Thank you for always providing him as a fourth man for us in all situations, any situations, that we don't have to endure things alone, but we endure them, with Jesus, with you. And we just thank you. And personally, I just thank you so much, God, for bringing my friend through this situation, her and Brett. Just want to give thanks for you being with her. Thank you so much, Lord. And thank you for being with others as well that are facing difficult times in their lives. Just allow them to know that you're there, that you'll never leave them, that you are that fourth man for them. And I just lift up to this week for everybody that we will continue just to trust in you, believe in you, and allow our faith to be built up stronger in you day by day as we go. And I just thank you. And also, I also want to pray for the people in Florida with the hurricane. Just pray that the people will be found. Just, again, send your fourth man, send Jesus to them. And we just give your name all the praise and all the glory. And just thank you so much. Thank you so much for you being you, God. And give your name all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Glo. And thanks to each of you for continuing to inspire us and uh, um, being involved not only in our calls, but also in our Own Your Health Revolution Facebook group, so that we can better ourselves and further God's kingdom. And just to remind you, we do record these and post them on social media. And if the message touched you, we'd love for you to share it with your friends and family. Thank you for joining us, and stay classy, folks.